Hello, Shutter Squad. Welcome back to The One Behind the Lens, the podcast where we talk about what it really takes to build a creative business, from the camera bag to the business side of things. I'm your host, Kate DeCoste, photographer, educator, and fellow creative, figuring it all out right along beside you. Today's episode is a bonus episode here for season 2. And my guest, Leslie Kerrigan, a senior photographer with nearly 2 decades of experience and the founder of Seniorologie, a platform dedicated to helping photographers build a successful senior photography business. In this episode, we're diving into senior photography marketing, model teams, and what it actually takes to build a sustainable photography business. Leslie shares why simply posting photos isn't enough to attract senior clients, how marketing to seniors is different from marketing to parents, and what photographers should really be focusing on if they want to book consistently. We also talk about senior model programs, what has changed over the years, why they still work, and how to structure them so they grow your business instead of completely exhausting you. If you photograph seniors, want to photograph seniors, or just want to get better at marketing, this episode is packed with practical insight. So, grab your coffee, settle in, and let's get into it. So, Leslie, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm excited too. I love to be a guest on anyone's podcast, especially yours. So I'm
Oh,
super
well,
excited.
thank you. Thank you. I think it's such a great thing that we have, like a tool to have where we can talk to so many different photographers or have our own little conversation. It's just a great way to get
Yeah.
info out.
Well, back when I first started, because I've been around quite a long time, it was blogging, and I would interview other
Oh,
photographers, and that would be the blog post. And then
sure.
podcast came around, and like, oh, I love to just chat. That's easier than writing. You know what I mean? Like having to write a
Yes.
long blog post. So to me, podcasts have sort of replaced, the beginning when I mean, blogs are still around. I'm not saying that, but I have now gone from only blogging to now doing a podcast because to me, just chatting with someone, like you just never know where the conversation's going to go.
Right, right. There is that because it's like you have like the questions, but then
Yeah.
something else, it's organic can like happen in the
Yeah. And I think it's
conversation.
fun for the listener to just kind of be like they're a fly on the wall in this conversation.
Yes, yes. And I love that with the podcast for the listener on that side, you can listen at any time. Like if you want to be in the car, if all the, if you're working, you're editing or something and you can have it in the background.
Absolutely. I like to listen to a podcast when I'm walking.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so you're not gonna be able to read the blog while I mean, maybe if somebody's
No,
very talented, but
right? Maybe. I wouldn't be able to walk
no,
and
me either.
read at the same time.
So, Leslie, for those who may not know you yet, what pulled you into senior photography and, why seniors?
Well, there's really so many reasons, but to be honest, the main reason was because I hate dealing with competition. And at the time, nobody in my town was doing senior photos.
Oh,
And so it was
wow.
my way of not having to compete with the 8,000 photographers that are in my town. So
Sure.
that was part of it because I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't like to do what everybody else does. I don't like to
Mm-hmm.
wear the same thing. I don't like to do the same thing. I feel like anything that's overhyped is not really worth it, right? I don't want
Mm-hmm.
it's just in me that way. So I didn't want to be the same photographer that everybody else was, which again at the time was a photographer that did a little bit of everything. And I
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
didn't like to do weddings and I really didn't like to do newborns. And I can handle kids okay, but I don't really want to chase kids my whole life, right? So, figuring out what I really liked, plus the fact that nobody else was doing it, and really still not in my area, knock on wood, are there a
Mm,
lot of people? I mean, they do. I mean, they take it, but nobody really is like specific to seniors, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
back when I started, there wasn't even a market for senior photography because everybody here has to go get their yearbook photo taken by the Life Touch, whatever. So it
mhm,
was somewhat of an uphill battle for me because I had to sort of create this market of the yearbook photo is for the yearbook. This is something completely different. And why do you need
mm,
both? Right.
mhm,
So
mhm.
it was a little bit of not wanting to compete with the, million photographers in my town, a little bit of I didn't want to chase kids or deal with newborns. And, as much as the wedding is really pretty, like I love the part where you see the bride, but after that, I'm sort of over it. And
Right,
also,
yes.
like, I didn't want to deal with, churches have all these rules and the different lighting and if you make a mistake, you're kind of screwed on a wedding. As seniors,
Right.
you shoot, right? So a
Mhm.
little bit of all of that, plus the fact that I have two boys, so being able to photograph senior girls gives me that girly outlet because I am very
Mhm.
girly. So it's just kind of all of that meshed into this is the perfect genre for me.
I love that. I love that. I love that it was like, not that one thing, but it's interesting to me that you didn't have people really honing in on the senior market.
Yeah, no, not
I
really.
mean, that's great though.
I
And
mean,
it
now
was something
listen,
that you
maybe my
loved.
blinders are on and there's a ton and I don't even know about it, but I don't want to know about it. So nobody come at me saying, I'm in your town and I do this.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. You're doing your own thing. You're not worried. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So when did education become part of your journey? Like what made you pivot from just shooting seniors to teaching other photographers to book?
Well, it happened a lot faster than I was really ready for it to happen, to be honest. Back when I started, again, we'll go back to the blogging days. I was actually blogging for someone else. It was called The Savvy Photographer. Shout out to Marsha. But she had a blog that kind of just was teaching people about different genres and showing people different things. And I said to her, I have a journalism background. What if I interview some people and, give it to you to use on your blog? And so that's kind of how it started. And from there, I realized that that idea could be a very specific senior blog. Because I don't know if
Mm,
you remember, but like, green wedding shoes and all those wedding blogs were kind of the thing
yes.
back then, right? And the savvy photographer was kind of a little bit of everything. And I'm like, why is there not a senior one? And
Mm,
so that started the blog, but that was exactly the same time I started photographing seniors. And I am not somebody that can teach without having something to back it up. To each his own, and there are people that do that, but I couldn't. So I chose to spend many years going to the more experienced people and interviewing them and sharing their stuff in order to teach other people while I was
mhm.
learning, while I was growing. And so that was my way into education before I was really ready. That makes sense.
Sure. Yeah,
But
yeah.
then obviously I was building a senior photography business. So I was also gaining experience. And then, after a while, definitely learned a lot and, built my own business and was able to teach. But, I had my first in-person workshop. Let's see, I started seniorology in like July and had my first in-person workshop the following April. So it was pretty quick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just had other speakers and things of that sort because again, I wasn't experienced enough to do it on my own, you know what I mean? So,
Right, right.
yeah.
Well, and I think it's always fun just to collaborate with others and
Yeah. Oh my
have
gosh.
those
Yeah.
other, yeah. So,
Well, there's no one way to do anything.
no,
Yeah.
right, right.
So it's always nice to have multiple people telling you how they do it so then you can pick and choose or mesh the whatever together to create your own.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. So we're talking about the photographers
Mhm.
and the seniors.
Uh-huh.
If there's a photographer that's listening, walking and listening right
Yeah.
now, and they're thinking, I love seniors, but I can't seem to book consistently,
Mhm.
what is like the first thing you'd have them look at?
Well, marketing, if I'm going to pick one thing, marketing, but there's so many things underneath the marketing umbrella. Um, I find that a lot of times we all want to blame something else. In reality, you might want to look at yourself and what you're
Mm-hmm.
actually doing versus what you think you're doing. Because
Mm-hmm.
my guess is you're probably not doing as much as you think you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, especially when it comes to marketing, because we can't post one time, we can't blog one time, we can't just have a website that we never touch and expect all these things to work. So, my
Mm-hmm.
guess would be look at yourself like truthfully and say, okay, how much am I actually marketing? How many times am I posting? Is my marketing message what that potential client needs to hear? Because
Mm-hmm.
just because you posted a photo and you're super consistent with throwing a photo up on Instagram doesn't mean that's marketing because that's not today. It used
Mm-hmm.
to work. It doesn't work today. So I would say look at what you're actually doing. Is it translating? Is it speaking to your ideal client? Are you doing enough to tell
Mm-hmm.
people about your business? Because chances are you might not be. And I get it because we've got 1,000 things that we need to be doing. Plus, talking about yourself seems, weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
if you're not talking about yourself, nobody's booking you. I can promise you that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you
yeah, that's
think
what I would say.
Do you think that when you're thinking ideal client, who am I talking to? Are you thinking are should they be talking to the parent? Should they be talking to the senior? Should they be throwing out multiple like
Mhm.
maybe a post is just kind of talking to a senior, one is talking about to a parent?
Yeah, that is the unique thing with senior photography. Ultimately, I find that I book senior sessions through a parent.
Mhm.
But I think they come to me through the senior. So what I think
Mhm.
happens is a senior either hears about me from their friends or somebody on my model team or through Instagram or what have you, and they go
Mhm.
to the parent and say, "This is who I want." And then
Mhm.
if I can get on the phone with a parent, then I'm usually booking them.
Sure.
So I think you have to speak to both, but I think ideally you want the senior wanting you and going to their parent to say, "This is who I want."
Mm.
And I
Mhm.
also find that most seniors that come to me are Instagram, model team, word of mouth. Most
Okay.
parents that come to me have either Googled and I show up first on Google, or another parent and or their senior said, "I want this person or you should use this person."
Mm.
That's how I feel like they're coming to me. And
Mhm.
always, I would say 99% of the time, if I can get the parent on the phone, I book them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I
Yep,
love that you know kind of like where each one is kind of coming from because then you know on Instagram, I need to be talking to the senior
exactly.
and, Google, I mean, the website and all of that
Mhm.
will come up when a parent
Yeah.
is
Yeah, you
Googling.
want to make sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, I will throw out a parent written sort of post every now and then, but in general, I am talking a little bit more to the senior on Instagram. I would say I don't do a lot of Facebook, but I would say if you're on Facebook, that's probably a little more parent. So
Right.
that's who you're talking to there. I do think a parent will always go directly to your website if they've Googled you or if the senior says this is who I want. So I do think your website really needs to be professional so that the parent is convinced, yes. Because the
Mhm.
senior's just looking at her cute friend in your photo or the popularity of you or the well-knownness of you kind of thing. The parent's
Mhm.
looking a little bit more toward like, Will this person take care of my child? Will they be able to produce, quality images? Am I going to get, prints and products? Like what they're looking for is a little bit different than what the senior's looking for. So I would say
Mm-hmm.
your website really needs to speak to that because chances are the parent is going to your website.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
No, that makes sense. And I was going to ask, and you answered that about Facebook. Like,
Mhm.
should you be doing things on Facebook? And I figured it would be. You'd be more talking to a parent
Yes. I
on
mean,
on
listen, in
that.
an ideal world, you should be doing things as many places as you can. But I'm
Sure.
also a realist, and most of us are one person. We don't have time for everything, right?
Right.
So sometimes you have to pick and choose what works best for you. So my
Hmm.
concentration is more on Instagram. Now,
Okay.
can you connect your Instagram to your Facebook so it automatically posts? Yes. Ideally, you'd want to change up the post just a little bit and change the wording so it fits a parent better on Facebook than just automatically posting it on Facebook. But
Hmm.
again, we only have so many hours in the day. So automatic is better than nothing at all, right?
Right. Right.
But definitely I would say I concentrate on Instagram more than Facebook.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, hello, little
Hey,
guy.
hi, my name is
Or
Dexter.
oh, adorable. So we're kind of talking about like a photographer that's, thinking how I can't book consistently. And you were kind of saying, look at your marketing, look at what you're doing.
Mhm.
Is there a mistake you see photographers making when trying to attract seniors?
I don't want to say so many, but I do see so many mistakes sometimes, and but I've made them too, so I get
Sh-
it, right?
Sure, sure.
I think the biggest mistake I still see today is photographers assuming that a photo will market their business.
Mm,
Whether that be a photo on Instagram, whether that be that their website is just a portfolio, like relying too much on your photo to do the work for you is not
mm-hmm,
how today's senior needs to be marketed to, right? So I would say
mm-hmm.
that's the biggest mistake that I see. Or, not marketing at all. I mean, that's a mistake because we're too busy editing and doing all the things, right?
Right.
The mistakes I've made and or still make and or totally understand. But if I had to say the biggest one, it's relying too much on your photo to do the marketing job for you. And
Mm-hmm.
that just doesn't work anymore.
Right. I know it's so interesting how social media changes, how
Mhm.
seniors change. I just saw a senior of that I photographed, like I think she graduated in maybe 2018, something like that,
Yeah.
And I was we were chatting and I was saying how it is so interesting how when I had her, she was in my modeling program and
Yeah.
how it's a little bit different now how to talk to seniors and what
Yep.
seniors want. And yes, it was 2018. It wasn't that long ago, but it was a good amount of time that it's they're different.
They are different. And to be honest, every class is different. Like
Hmm.
I've been around long enough that, certain classes value photos more than other classes.
Hmm.
Um, and one year they can all just really be into it, and the next year they're not into it, and the next year they're back into it, right?
Hmm.
But gosh, the senior of 2018 was a totally different senior, especially a senior model. The
Yes.
2018 senior model worked a whole lot more for you than today's.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree.
totally.
And that
And I
was
mean,
one of the things we talked about too, of like
yeah,
they were like so like her class, like they were so
yeah,
excited to
yep.
like come in and do the things. And yeah, now it's different.
It's
It's
different. It's
hard.
different. I
Yeah.
remember a senior I had, and I don't know what class she was in, but probably 2018. I mean, she's married now, so it's been a while, right?
Sure.
Um, she went so far as to print out on her own little tags that said, if you book with Leslie Kerrigan Photography and use my name, you'll get a print credit. And then she put them in people's mailboxes. Like this was all her. Like I didn't tell her to do
Wow.
that. So like
Right.
huge difference. Today's
Right.
barely post. You know what I mean? Like it's like pulling teeth just to get them to post something.
Yes, yes. I know it's like when I get like super excited like when they post because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you actually like,
You
you
actually
know,
posted?
you actually posted." Or if they
Okay.
even if they share something of mine of theirs that I've
Yeah.
posted on their stories, I get like so I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you
Yeah,
did
they
that."
tend to still post on their story, but
Mhm.
they are very like they hold that feed like so
Mm.
like I don't know what their criteria is to make the feed, but it is like elusive. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Have you ever gone to one of your seniors' Instagrams and there's zero photos on their feed?
Yes. Or like one
Why
or
do you have
two.
Instagram?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
I
get it.
know. It's
Get it.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since we're kind of talking about models and modeling program, I'd love just to kind of just dive into it.
Yeah.
So, there is a lot of, I feel like, noise around senior model programs.
Mhm.
You know, what because I feel like there's that thing of like, do they, and we're kind of talking about that. Do they work anymore? Is it something we should still be doing? Um, and if we should, what are photographers getting wrong about them?
Well, so I still do one. So yes, they still work. If you do them the right way and if you have the right expectations for them. I think that's where people go wrong, to be honest. I
Mm-hmm.
think people think it's going to be this miracle worker. They're immediately going to get booked by 50,000 seniors because they have a model team, and that's just putting too much pressure on something that is not going to give you those results, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably the mistake. But mine still works. I still get, I mean, I just literally just told 24 girls they made the team. So it clearly works. Okay.
Yes.
And I know tons of photographers that also do the same thing, right? But then I do also know photographers that it has not worked for. And sometimes there's a reason for that. And sometimes I can't pinpoint what the reason is. But if I had to say, like as a whole, if you have a team that's not working, I would say again, the same advice. Look at yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
Don't blame the models. Look at yourself. What did you lead them? Did you tell them what they should be doing? Did you remind them of what they should be doing? Did you give them a reason to even want to do these things for you? Um, you have to, and I'm not always the best at it. I mean, listen, there are times I get busy and I don't check in with my reps as often as I should. And those are the times when they're not doing anything for me because I haven't done what I needed to do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, you do have to look at yourself before blaming the models or just throwing up your hands and saying model teams don't work. I definitely think they are different today than they were back in the day. And so you have to adjust with that. And that means
Mm-hmm.
adjust what you're doing, adjust your expectations. I mean, you mentioned not to like before we ever started that we were going to talk about like kind of like longevity in this field. And the only way to continue with senior photography, as long as, people that have been around a long time, is to evolve and
Mm-hmm.
learn and grow and change what's not working. Like
Right.
I can't do what I did back in 2018 with a model
Mm-hmm.
team, with marketing, with any of it. So that was a long-winded way of saying, yes, I believe they still work.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
but definitely things have changed about them.
Sure, sure. If there's a photographer that's listening that maybe they're newer,
Mhm.
starting out, and they've never even thought of a model team, or they've heard of a model team, but they're not sure what it
Mhm.
is, haven't had one. What is the purpose of a model program when it's done correctly?
So I believe today's model team. So back in the day, the purpose was to get referrals.
Mm-hmm.
They don't actually work for referrals like they did back in the day, right? So to me, today's model team is more about helping you create buzz for your business. I like to say that if you are the only one talking about your business, that will get you so far, right?
Mm.
But if
Mm-hmm.
you plus 24 other girls are potentially talking about your business, that's going to get you a whole lot further. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
weed out and, kind of branch out and get in front of a lot more people. So that to me is worth its weight in gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because now I have 24 people out there. Maybe they're not all posting, but they are probably saying to their friend, "Oh, I can't go do that because I have to go to my model team shoot." Even
Mm-hmm.
that little sentence is marketing for me,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that, and I think people put a lot of weight on, well, I need X from Y or Y from X, whatever, right? Like, so if I build a model team, I need to get 6 referrals per girl. It's just
Mm-hmm.
not that finite. It's not like that, right? There's a lot
Right.
of intangible things that you can't get without a model team, but you might not can really measure either. So you just have to, like I say, your expectations just have to be adjusted a little bit.
Right. Right. I feel like it's now like very organic. Like you
Yes.
just said how if someone was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I have a model session that I
Mhm.
have to go to." Just like you said, just saying that they're not trying to pitch to them like
Right.
you should go to this photographer because I'm the model for her. They are just saying that little thing and that's going to get just that little, or it might even strike up a little bit of
A little bit more of a
conversation.
conversation, right? Because really, today's senior is probably not going to hardcore market for you, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But everybody's watching, everybody's following them on Instagram. Their friends are talking in the, lunchtime. What do you have today after school kind of thing? And like
Mm-hmm.
I say, even that is like, oh, I got to go to my, LKP model team shoot. We're doing this, blah, 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 blah. So marketing to me is about getting someone, you or somebody else, to talk about your business. It's
Mm-hmm.
not hard, right? It's not rocket science. It's literally just people talking about your business. The more people you have talking about your business, the more your business is the one that's in people's brain when they are ready to book a senior session.
Mm-hmm.
And to
Yeah.
me, that's kind of what a model team is for today.
Do you think that if you are just starting out, should you starting out as a photographer, should you start a model team right away or should you wait a little bit to get established? What are your thoughts on
I
that?
don't know if there's a hard and fast rule about that. The only thing I will say is, in general, your very first model team is going to be your hardest one.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you start that the same year you started senior photography or whether you wait 5 years, the very first one is the hardest one because nobody knows that from you, right? You've never
Mm-hmm.
done it before. But you
Mm-hmm.
also have to have the first one so that you can have the second, the third, the fourth, right? Because
Right.
it builds on itself. The more years you have one, the more it grows.
Mm-hmm.
So I think being a little bit more established or having some sort of in that age group will help
Mm-hmm.
you. So let's say you're a mom and your daughter is 16, that's going to help you a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
then, or maybe you have young kids, but you happen to have a babysitter that's 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you
Mm-hmm.
used to be a high school teacher,
Mm.
or, something like that is going to help you a lot more. And or being established will help you a lot more when it comes to a model team, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you've been a senior photographer for 3 years and you've done a really good job of marketing yourself as a senior photographer, by year 3, if you decide to start your first model team, probably going to go a little easier than if you had tried before you ever photographed a senior before.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. 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 What do you think makes a senior model program profitable instead of exhausting? Or is there even,
I don't know if
is
that's
that even a
possible.
thing? I know.
I don't know that that's actually possible, to be honest. Um, to it's really hard because it's a lot of time, it's a lot of work. And
Mhm.
I don't want to discourage anybody, but I don't know if you can charge enough, to be honest.
Mm, mhm,
I don't know
mhm,
that anybody's going to pay you $5,000 per girl. Like,
mhm,
if you can get that, by all means, do it, right?
mhm,
But like, you almost, I mean, for all the time you put in there, I mean, it would be a lot, right? So
mhm,
I think you have to price it in a way that you're comfortable, you are making money, but then you're also getting those intangible things that maybe take the place of, a little bit more money, right? Like,
mhm,
because truth be told, most people have to pay for marketing. But
mhm.
we are getting people to pay us to help us market. So
Oh,
it
that's a
might not
good
be
way
a
to think of
dollar
it.
per dollar thing. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm,
So
mhm,
I think you
mhm,
have to, I think you have to consider that, but you also have to ask yourself, is this worth it to me? Is making
mhm,
this amount of money plus knowing that I'm going to get these intangible, non-monetary things from it enough for me? If your answer is no, don't do it.
mm,
You
mhm,
know what I mean? Like, don't do it because
mhm,
it won't be worth it to you because you're constantly checking in with your models. You are, putting together photo shoots. You're actually doing the photo shoots. You're traveling to the photo shoots. You're editing the photos. You're, trying to give them an experience. And most model teams have multiple shoots throughout the year. Like, these are all things you really need to consider. Yes, you want to create a price that is worth it to you, but I also think there's some non-monetary things in there that you also have to like, tally up, if you will. Okay, so I'm going to make this amount of money, but I'm also going to potentially have 24 more people talking about me, helping me market, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know what price to put on that, but that is worth a certain amount of quote unquote money, right?
mm, mhm, mhm.
So I
Yeah.
think, yeah,
Well, and I feel like too, you just have to like, I think it's for everyone has to look at their own
yeah,
business because I might not be able to do maybe what you're doing or
right.
who the next person is doing as far as even like shoots. Like,
Hmm.
don't overwhelm. Like, if you're like, I'm going to do, we're going to do a shoot every month and you don't think that that's a big deal, a lot
It
of
is.
work, it really is.
It
So
really is.
you have to kind of set expectations and really sit there and figure
Yeah.
that out too.
Well, I always say it's always better to underpromise and overdeliver.
Mm,
It's better to guarantee a certain amount of shoots for the year for your model team, and that number be a lot less than what you probably initially want to give them. And then you
mm-hmm,
can always do pop-up shoots, additional shoots throughout the year as you have time. So I
mm,
personally get like my model team gets 5 shoots. That is what's guaranteed. That is their individual, a headshot shoot, a group styled shoot, a holiday shoot, and a cap and gown shoot. Now,
mm,
do I
mm.
do more than that? Yep. Every year I always do a couple of more, sometimes double the amount, just depending on my time. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to do more. I have to do
Right.
5, and 5 I can do within a year.
I love that one of them is the cap and gown
Mhm.
because I mean, I feel like the scene that's a perfect like just
It's the
given
perfect ending. It's the perfect, yeah,
yeah.
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 And you know what else? I mean, it depends on where you live, of course, but I live in South Carolina. It's warm almost all year round. So if a model schedules their individual senior shoot in September, they don't have their cap and gown yet.
Right.
So that allows me not to have every model team shoot in the spring in that tiny little window when the cap and gown got out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to get a cap and gown as a
Mm-hmm.
group every year around the 1st of May because that's by the time because all the schools are different. Some don't get their cap and gown till end of April, some get it at the beginning, blah blah blah, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that really allows them not to have to waste an outfit, if you will, on their individual session with the cap and gown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
B allows them to have their photo shoot whenever they want, knowing they're also going to get a cap and gown.
Right. Right.
Mm.
Yeah. I love that. Do you, because we were talking about photo, like the photo shoots, do you, for like, because with marketing and all of that, I was just thinking, are you doing video and reels and all of that as well?
Yes, sometimes the girls are taking video behind me. Sometimes I have an intern or an assistant of some sort. On individual photo shoots, mom is typically taking the
Mm.
videos, or either I have my camera on the little hot shoot thing that you can put on your
Hmm.
camera, or I have the Ray-Ban glasses that you have to remember to turn on.
Turn on. Yeah.
But yes, video is huge, especially for marketing, because it's the fastest way for someone to be able to see what it would be like. A
Hmm.
photo just shows the final results, right?
Hmm.
And a
Hmm.
senior can look at a cute girl in a photo and say, oh, well, mine won't look like that because I don't look like her, or I'm not her size, or I'm not as photogenic as her, or I don't know how to pose, or any of that. When you can
Hmm.
show a video that that girl didn't know any more than you know, then it breaks it down and allows any senior to say, okay, that photographer is going to help me pose. That
Mm.
photographer is going to help me, look the part with hair and makeup or whatever, or help me with my wardrobe, edit, all the location, finding the locations, all those things. It can really go a long way to helping a senior see that, yes, you too can be in front of my camera and have results like that, as opposed to just the results.
Right, right. No, and that does make sense. Where if you look at something and you're gonna be like, well, I can't do that.
Right.
I don't know how to pose.
Yeah.
And it's always funny to me when I get asked like, are you going to help me pose? And I'm always like, well, yeah, like that's kind of my
Is
job,
that
but
not a given? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but I have more than I would have ever thought. Ask that. Like it is
So
a
that right there is a marketing strategy you should implement weekly. Like,
yeah,
how I help you
yeah,
pose should be like a weekly post, because if
yeah,
you've got that many people asking you, it's just
yeah.
that their brains aren't thinking the way ours are. Like, to us, it's like, yeah, that's a no-brainer, but they don't live
Hmm.
in our world. They've never done it before, right? So if you
Hmm.
can break down that one thing that clearly is a concern, and I'm
Hmm.
sure you already do that, but I'm just saying, anybody listening, if you're also getting that question, that's an immediate post that you could literally post every single week.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
I think I need, and I obviously I need to. I mean, I think I need to do that. And I always felt like I was doing things like that, but obviously
Yeah.
maybe I'm just not, maybe like you were kind of saying at the beginning, maybe I'm not doing it enough.
Maybe
Like
you're not doing it
you're
enough
not,
because
people
people
aren't
have to see
seeing
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that we have to
And maybe that, maybe they've seen it, but for whatever reason it didn't translate.
mm-hmm.
But chances are they may not have seen it. I mean, that's true.
Right,
Algorithm and all the things, right? So that's
right.
why we have to reiterate it over and over and over again. And I
Mm-hmm.
do think there's a lot of photographers who are so scared that, oh God, I posted the same thing. Nobody cares.
No,
Nobody cares. Nobody's even, this sounds so mean, and I don't mean it that mean, but nobody actually cares about your posts as much as you care about your posts.
right, right.
So nobody even
Yes.
registers that you posted the same thing 4 days ago. Like, they're
Mm-mm.
not paying that much attention.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they're paying enough attention that if you post it over and over and over again, it might finally click that, oh yeah, she does help pose me if I were to
Mm-hmm.
hire her. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And like you said, no one is caring. And if they are like really don't care and they're seeing it all the time, they're just going to keep scrolling.
Yeah. Yeah,
And they're not,
nobody.
yeah, it's not,
Yeah.
yeah, they're not going to have some like how we are. Like we're going to,
Right. Yeah. Like, well, yeah, we think because it's ours, right? Like, it's
yes.
so close to us. It seems so like, oh gosh, what if somebody thinks I'm posting but nobody else looks at it that way.
Right. Right.
Reuse that content over
Yes.
and over again.
Yes. Yes. I agree.
Don't make it harder on yourself. You shouldn't have to
Right.
come up with new stuff all the time.
Right. Right. So, talking about, we were kind of like talking about building a business
Mhm.
and, building a business that will support our life. Like, we want to be a
Right.
photographer, we want to have a business, we want to be able to, pay our bills and do all the things. What does that mean in like real numbers and structure?
Well, it's different for everybody because everybody has different set of expenses, right? Like, I mean, if you have
Sure.
a studio, you've got to pay for that. Some people don't have that. I always say the best thing, and I am no numbers person at all. Okay. Like, I hate numbers. I literally changed my major in college so I didn't have to take math kind of person. Okay. I'm a journalism major, so I did not have to take math. Um, but knowing your specific numbers is the only way that you can create a business that will make you the money you need to make. So
Mm-hmm.
you need to know how much do you spend in gas? How much is your computer? How much is your insurance? How much is your, whatever, your subscriptions, your editing, your blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's different for everybody because not everybody has the same set of things, right? Some people don't have a CRM, some do, all the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if you can really know those numbers, then I think you can set your business up for success, profit, all those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
then you know how much do I need to charge? How many
Mm-hmm.
sessions do I need to book? And I
Mm-hmm.
also think sometimes, we think, oh, I'm not really booking anything right now, but have you actually looked at your numbers, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
again, our feelings are different than facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
find myself sometimes going, gosh, I feel like nobody's inquired lately. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
literally pull up my calendar or my CRM and I'll say, oh, last year at this time, I only had three booked. I've got four booked this year, but I didn't know that because my feeling told me that I didn't have enough booked, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so I think factual information is what is how you can really build a business of profit. I am not a woo-woo person at all, so I just don't think feelings are a way to establish I mean, you can sit there and wish you had a successful business all day long, but until you
Right.
actually put pen to paper and
Mm-hmm.
write down, I need to make this much money because I have to spend this much money. I need to charge this much in order to, and I need to book this many. That
Mm-hmm.
is the only way to build, in my opinion, a successful, profitable business.
Well, and it's that I feel like that's thing when you were talking about is like the busy versus profitable because you can
Yes.
be a very busy
Yes.
photographer and
Yeah.
you're not making any, you might not be making any money. I mean, you might be making money, but you're not
Right.
profitable because you're not looking at your numbers. And I know it's scary. Like I know
Oh, it's so scary.
it's
Yeah. Pricing
scary.
is the most scary.
Yeah, it's scary and it's kind of, you're like, that's the boring part of
Right.
having a business when you're
Yeah.
like, I want to be a photographer to photograph people and
Right. And
do all
create.
that,
And yeah,
create, yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
do all of that. I didn't want to do this, but you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do have to. You do have to. Because you're right. I think, I know when I first started, I don't, I think I started the very first session I ever did was like $75,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yeah.
insane.
Right.
But to me, I'm like, oh, somebody handed me $75. So I made $75. No, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Because I had to pay for this and I had to pay for that. And it was my time and all the things, right? So I really probably paid
Mm-hmm.
$0.
Right. Yes, I know.
So I think, we again, feelings versus factual. We
Mm-hmm.
feel like we made $200, $300, $400 because someone actually gave us $200, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't actually profit $200,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the difference. And again, I am no math person. I hate math. I hate it. I would rather it not be part of the business. But the minute I
Right.
got on board with that, it was the minute I started being profitable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about seniorology.
Yeah. Okay.
We had like I feel like I mean you've definitely been giving us all the seniorology I feel like advice and
Yeah.
already. But if someone's never heard of it, what would
Uh-huh.
you say they would like find there if they happen to
Happen to
get
find it.
yeah, yeah.
I would say hopefully they find a one-stop resource for all things senior photography. I mean, I have a podcast, I have a bunch of freebies, I have, advice, I have Instagram where I post content. Like you will learn without ever signing up for anything with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that I would say is hopefully the one-stop resource for all things senior photography.
You're hosting an in-person retreat in
Yeah.
July in Salt Lake City.
Uh-huh.
So, who is that retreat for?
Okay, so I would say that retreat is for the photographer who wants to be in the room with someone who is doing what that person wants to be doing with their senior photography business. The best thing I ever did for my personal business was to attend an in-person retreat. And don't
Mm-hmm.
get me wrong, I teach online all day long, so I definitely would love for you to, learn from me online. But
Mm-hmm.
nothing can take the place of that in-person thing. It's kind of like when we first started talking and we're talking about a podcast. You can't
Mm-hmm.
quite do the same thing with a blog post, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
as much as online is great, you're never going to get those personal interactions. Those are the times you can learn so much more. Is that conversation in between, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's those in between moments of relating to this attendee because, oh my God, you do that too, or you had a senior that did that too, that kind of thing. And then, of course, you have, a teacher who, I mean, I want to see you succeed. I'm going to give my all to every single attendee and really tell you exactly what to do. Um,
Mm.
I kind of might force you to do some stuff. I want to see you take action. Okay. I don't want it to be fluffy. I don't want it to be like, sometimes it's not feel good. Like, I want it to
Mm.
be like actionable real information. And then you mix that with really cool photo shoots and really cool locations that you may not have access to otherwise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to create content that's going to help you market your business. You're going to be able to relax a little bit outside of your business. Like it kind of gives you that opportunity to get away from answering the emails, get away from, having to do the editing, getting, when you can take yourself out of that daily grind, that's when your
Mm.
business can actually grow because that's when
Mm-hmm.
you give yourself time to learn instead of just survive, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it's for anybody. I would say it's probably not for the photographer who does not know how to use their camera. Like that new, like probably not, because we're not going over settings or anything. I mean, don't get me wrong. If somebody asks me my settings, I will tell them, but that's not. It's more of the person who wants to really build a senior photography business. We're going
Okay.
to talk about the marketing. We're going to talk about the action plan. We're going to talk about the branding. We're going to talk about the model teams. We're going to talk about the pricing, like those things. And then you get to shoot, but the shooting part is, more to create content and tell you how to use that content to market your business.
I love that it's like that twofold where you're getting the education and not saying that the shoots aren't education as well,
Right.
but you're kind of getting both worlds.
Yes. And we have two photo shoots in two completely different locations. So
Okay.
one is at the Salt Flats, which is literally a bucket list worthy location, right? People want
Mm-hmm.
to shoot out there. I've shot there before. It's amazing. And it's worth every bit of, going out there. It's really worth it. And then the other location is completely different because it's a wildflower field on the side of a mountain, which
Oh,
is super
wow.
fun. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
two totally different terrains, if you will, because obviously
Yeah.
is flat. But the flowers, I'm dying to shoot out there because listen, if I get asked for flowers once, I get asked for flowers 5,000 times
Yes.
by my seniors, and I'm like, we don't really have them.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, so there's only three spots left though. So
Okay. I was just going to ask how
yeah,
many spots. Okay. So 3 spots.
you have three spots. You get your
So,
accommodation. It's all inclusive. So all you have to do is get yourself there. I take care of the accommodations. I take care of the food. I take care of the transportation
oh,
to and from
wow.
photo shoots. Obviously the education. Like you literally just show up and immerse yourself into this experience.
I love that. I love that. If someone was like they're listening and they're like, okay, I got to sign up right now because there's
Yeah.
only 3 spots, where do they go to sign up?
Okay, so seniorology.com/biz retreat. So BIZ retreat.
Okay, perfect. And I'll put that in the show notes as
Okay.
well. But I was just like, if someone's listening and they're
Yeah.
like, I gotta grab that spot.
Yes, please do. Of
Yeah. So
course,
if
the reason it's in the summer is because that's the when the wildflowers are growing. So that's the
okay.
dates of it. It's July 19th through the 22nd.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, I was thinking too, I was like, it's gonna be like really warm in Salt Lake City or like
I did
what's the weather there?
the last time I was at the Salt Flats, I wouldn't say super warm, but
Mm-hmm.
warm for, I mean, 'cause I'm from South Carolina, so,
Sure. It's warm all
98
the time.
degrees is what I'm used to. It's never
Right.
98, but
Right.
it will be
Right.
summertime. Yeah, it was,
Right.
I wore shorts last time I was there. So,
Right. So that's kind of nice too, where you can
yeah.
just be like, it's a outdoors. You're not going to be freezing.
Yes, yeah, oh gosh, yes. I had a shoot this past weekend in Charleston. It was a destination shoot for one of my
Mm,
models. And Charleston is normally warm, right? Like it's Charleston, South Carolina, right?
sure.
Oh my God, it was so freaking cold.
Oh
My
no.
fingers, because I didn't bring gloves. And so my fingers had to be out, taking the photos, right? My fingers were like numb. And the poor
Oh,
senior was totally numb because, of course, she wore a strapless dress and sandals.
sure. Of
Right,
course, because you're
right,
thinking you're in Charleston
right.
and yeah. Oh gosh.
So, yeah, that was miserable. I don't like that.
If someone is like, well, they might want to go to Salt Lake City
Uh-huh.
too, but if someone is interested in like the online, you were talking about online education, kind of, can you just give us a brief like what that would look like? What
Yeah,
the
so I definitely do one-on-one coaching. Uh,
okay.
so that is always a really good place to start because then it can be very specific to your business. And that
Mm-hmm.
can come in the form of a 1 hour phone call, Zoom call,
Mm-hmm.
or I do month to month. So I would coach you throughout the entire month or several months, whatever you sign up for. That's always a really good place to start because it allows me to kind of dive into your specific business, right? And
Mm.
pinpoint what maybe you need to work on or this, that, and the other. Now, of course, there are online courses. There's a posing academy, there's a spokesmodel academy. So we talked about model teams. So if you want to, do it on your own kind of thing,
Sure,
that
sure.
those are available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. And are that's on your website as
Yeah.
well,
Oh,
I'm
yeah. If you just
guessing.
go to seniorology.com, there's a tab called education. So it's all listed right
You'll
there.
find it. You'll
Yeah.
find it. Awesome. And just so everyone knows, I'll put in the show notes that Leslie gave you guys a free resource as well. And so that will be linked in the show notes too.
Absolutely. Yes.
So, Leslie, I love to do a little like segment with it's a little bit of rapid fire
Okay.
questions. So, just whatever
Okay.
comes to your mind. So, natural light or off-camera flash?
Natural.
Styled sessions or candid energy?
Ooh, that's hard. If the styled session can be styled the way I envision it, then maybe styled. Do you know what I mean? Like, 'cause
Yes.
sometimes you have this vision, but they don't quite pull it off or wear what you wanted them to wear. I don't want any part of that.
Right.
But if it's like
Yes.
exactly how I styled it, then I would say
And
styled.
you're okay.
Yeah.
Yep, I get it. Totally get it. Model team launch day or gallery delivery day?
Oh, I love Model Team Launch Day because I go to every single girl's house to deliver the news that they made the model team.
Oh.
I've kind of started a trend. I noticed somebody in the neighboring town doing the same thing now. So I think it's a trend I started.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I bet that's so fun.
It's so fun. I mean, to see their reaction in person, I mean, it's a lot of work, don't get me wrong. But because I mean, you're driving all
All
over.
over.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But that I would say is my most fun day.
In-person sales or online galleries?
In-person sales,
I think I know this. Well, maybe I don't. Instagram or email marketing?
Instagram.
Okay, I did know that one.
Seniors don't open emails, unfortunately. I don't think. I mean, that's not to say email marketing does not work. I definitely teach email marketing, but I don't find that they open their emails as much as you hope they do. They just
Sure.
don't check their email that often.
Right, right. One word that describes your brand.
Fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
At least I try to be.
Yes, yes. So before we wrap up, I also would love for you to step into the photo confession booth.
Oh, okay. Exciting.
So this is just like if there's anything that comes to your mind
Uh-huh.
that maybe before, during, after a session that it could be like a blooper that happened or like just a little, something that you
Uh-huh.
happened that you're like would like to confess today.
Oh Lord, I got lots of years of confessions I could probably make. Okay, so one time, this is what comes to mind. One time my camera stopped working on a senior session and I did not have a backup. And I couldn't figure it. You know how you get flustered, right?
Of
It's
course.
not that it stopped working, it's that it had some sort of black, I don't remember whether it was a line or like I don't know, or half of the
Oh,
was
like the
black.
sure.
Something happened and I was freaking out. Like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? And I was trying not to freak out in front of the, like, I'm like, oh, let me check something on my camera, how you do.
Yes, of course.
And then it got to be where I could not figure it out. And I happened to have a friend photographer in my town. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I called her and she brought me her camera.
Oh my
I
gosh,
know
how
it was very nice.
yes.
And so I finished the session with my friend's camera. Thank God, because I mean,
Yes.
the thing about it is, could I have said to them, she happened to be on my model team, so I probably could have said, listen, I don't know what's going on with my camera, but I will reshoot this, once I figure it out, kind of thing.
Right.
But luckily, my friend answered the phone, was able to bring me a camera, and I was able to do it. I also one time when I first switched to my mirrorless camera,
Uh-huh.
DSLR, because they're a
Yes.
little bit different.
Yes.
I somehow or another set my f-stop to f like 13 or something, 16. I don't know what it
Oh,
was, and didn't know it, and shot the
oh shoot.
entire thing. And got home and I'm like, oh my God, they're so grainy
Right.
because F-16, right?
Right. Right.
So I did that once, and then one other time, I'm gonna tell you about this one too. These are all my mishaps on a photo shoot. One other time, I was photographing a girl in her first outfit.
Okay.
I didn't have a memory card in the camera.
Oh. Oh
Did
no.
not notice it the whole time. She went to change clothes, and I was sitting there going, "Oh, let me look at what I've got," and there was nothing there.
Oh
So
no.
I played it off. This is terrible. I hope she's not listening. But I played it off. I didn't say a word, okay? Because
Mm-hmm.
she had already changed. She was literally walking back. If I had called her before she changed, I might would have said, we got to go redo this, but she had already changed. And we were
Mm-hmm.
okay. So I
Mm-hmm.
played it off, didn't say a word, finished the session, put the memory card in the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then later called the mother and said, something happened to my memory card for her first outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to reshoot that. And it just so happened to work out really well because she wanted her cap and gown, but her cap and gown hadn't come in, but it had
Oh,
come in by the second reshoot. So I
sure.
was able to do the first outfit with the cap and gown, and all was fine.
And all yeah.
Yeah,
No, and I think that was a great save. Like
I
I
know,
think
right?
yeah. Yeah.
You
Wow. Thank you so
definitely have
much.
to get resourceful.
You do. You do. You have to get resourceful. And I feel like, you saying like I know and because I do the same thing if something is, not working in my head and in my body, I'm like,
Right.
oh my gosh. But you can't show that. You have
No.
to, yeah, play it off.
And
And I
I
think
will get flustered, and it's like I don't know how to use my camera at all. Do you know what I mean?
yes,
Because I'm
yes,
so flustered that I can't think that, oh, this is what I accidentally hit, or because you can accidentally hit the things on your camera,
yes,
right?
yes.
I think I accidentally hit the how the little button on the lens from manual to autofocus.
Oh,
I think
yes.
I accidentally hit that one time
Oh,
and didn't
I've
realize.
done that. I've
Yeah,
done that.
yeah.
And then I'll be like, why? What's
What's going
what's
on?
going
Right,
on? Why is yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But lesson learned, I will say, I sometimes will get in my zone and like take photos and not look at the back of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened with the like first
Oh,
outfit. I
sure.
never looked at the back of the camera. If I had bothered to look at the back of the camera, I would have realized there's nothing there, right?
Sure. Sure.
But definitely a hard lesson learned. I'm constantly looking at the
At
back
the
of the camera.
yes, yes. Yeah. And I think there's like it's funny because there's like a fine like you don't want to be constantly looking like you're in the
Right.
zone and you're doing the
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, like just
Yeah, you
check
got
to
to
make
check.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make sure you check because maybe there's a camera out there, but mine did not bother to indicate whatsoever that there was no memory
That
card in
there's
mine.
no card in there.
Yeah.
I have mine set that
Oh, maybe it's a
it
setting.
will tell, yeah, it's a setting.
Okay.
It'll tell
Okay.
me no
Mm,
card or no
okay.
card and camera, something like that.
Hmm.
Because I have done that where I've looked and I go to like, get everything ready and it's like no card and camera. And I'm like, oh, gotta
Oh,
throw that
yeah.
in. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely, I, uh, I definitely suggest finding that setting for anyone that's listening.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh God. Yeah. So, and that's the thing. I think sometimes, I've had students before that are like, kind of down on themselves because maybe they had an offshoot. Girl, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I have offshoots still. Like it
Right.
happens. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's not like it was that long ago when this memory card thing happened.
Well, it's because we're all human.
Yes.
Everyone's human. Everyone, makes and I think that what you did though, like it wasn't like you were like, sorry, the
Right.
the card something happened to the card. You're just not gonna have those pictures. Like
No.
you do
Yeah.
what you did. You're
Yeah.
like, hey, we're gonna do another
Mhm.
shoot,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's just how
Yeah,
you
I don't think I could do that. Although I do think
know.
people would do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there probably are people that would do that. But yeah, no. Somebody asked me the other day, what would you do if somebody didn't like their photos?
Hmm.
Like, would you reshoot it? And I
Hmm.
said, you know what? I've had one maybe two people that didn't like their photos. Um,
Hmm.
and one happened to be the third sister on my model team. So the family had three girls, and this was the baby. So all three of the girls had come through my model team, had been models, etc. So that was a person that I absolutely would do something for, right? Like I would
Hmm.
never want
Hmm.
her. Not that you would ever not reshoot something for anybody, but I'm just saying, clearly these people have given me a lot of business kind of thing.
Right. Right.
And, I said, I think you just have to take it on a case by case basis because
Hmm.
you have to figure out what it was they didn't like about it. And if it was
Hmm.
something in your control, then you absolutely should reshoot it.
Right.
If it's
Right.
something out of your control, like she didn't like her dress, well, that's not
Hmm.
really my fault, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not my problem. Now, will I reshoot it for a fee? Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely, because you don't want a customer unhappy. But
Right.
so those were the two. I've had two. One was because the girl chose a dress that was really too small for her, so it
Hmm.
wasn't flattering. Um,
Hmm.
but that wasn't my
Yeah.
choice. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I didn't make
Right.
that choice. I was happy to reshoot it I even offered to half the session fee. Like I was like, it's
Hmm.
fine, I'll redo it, but you have to pay me something, right?
Right. Right.
And then the other girl who was the third model, what ultimately I figured out is her two sisters happened to have sunny days, and she happened to have a really, really, really overcast day.
Oh,
And I think she
interesting.
was looking at her sisters and wondering why hers were sort of like, that
Yes.
day that's just flat.
Yes.
Like, there's just nothing you can do. You can't
Sure.
Photoshop. Like it's just gray, it's drab. And I happen to live in an area that's super green. So when
Mm.
it's gray, the green really like alters your skin tone and all the things, right?
Sure. Sure.
So ultimately, was that my fault? No, but because she was the third of somebody that had brought me a lot of business, I'm like, yep, let's just reshoot it, kind of thing. So you just have to,
Yeah.
you have to do it case by case.
Yeah, you do. I had when you're talking about this was a long time ago. I did have, I mean, probably like 2017, 16 that
Yeah.
I had a senior. It was the same thing. She like, I feel like all of her outfits, she like did not, they were all small.
Yeah.
to her. And I mean, I noticed it, but I was
Yeah.
like,
But what do you say?
yeah. And I was like, this is what she likes. And,
Right.
and yeah, she didn't like any of them. And that one I had to be like kind of a hard,
Yeah.
I felt,
Yeah.
then I had another model,
Uh-huh.
and she and her sister, they were twins. And I finally got out what she didn't like about it. And we did not like a full session, we just did some, but she didn't like her lipstick.
That's funny.
And
Is it too dark?
they had gotten their, yes, I think it was too
Okay.
dark. And she was a person that really didn't wear makeup, but
Right.
they had professional makeup done.
Uh,
But I was like, you didn't like, the makeup artist always asks, like, do you like this? Is there anything you want to change, and everything? And maybe when she was looking at it, she just didn't
or sometimes
realize.
I think they don't want to hurt the makeup
They
artist.
don't want to, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I will tell you, talking about what has changed in the scene, like as far as seniors go, they don't wear lipstick today. Like
No,
none.
no, no.
And I'm like, girl, you got to put something on. Like, we can't
Yes,
have a full face of makeup and then no lips. Like, we should
yes,
do that.
yes.
But
I
they
know.
don't like lipstick.
Right. I
Hmm.
know. And I've
Hmm.
had quite a few seniors that they don't want, they're like, I never wear makeup and I'm not wearing makeup
Right.
in my
Right.
shoot. And I'm like, you do,
Yeah.
that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
before, like, 2015
Oh
to that,
gosh, yes.
they
Don't you
all
remember?
wanted.
Well, and don't you remember the trend in senior photography back then was really photoshopped, really heavy makeup,
Yes.
really close, like portrait, right? Like the
Yes.
perfect portrait type thing.
Yes.
We're not there now. Today it's
No.
more relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
I still think I mean, mine still get hair and makeup, but it is more of a relaxed, not so crazy hair and makeup. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Like it was once, and I don't portraiture anybody anymore. Like,
Right.
back in the day, I did,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's changed, I would say. But I think as much as you try to help your seniors, with what to wear, etc., there is a fine line between being able to say to somebody, maybe that's not the right dress for you. Like you can't,
Right.
like, I don't know how to say that without hurting somebody's feelings. So like you did, I saw
Yeah.
that the dress was too small.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
her mom was there. She didn't say, like, I kind of like,
Right.
kind of her job, not mine.
Right. Yes. Yes. I know. I know.
But then
Yeah.
again, I don't have girls either. And I think being a mom of a teenage girl would also be a hard thing because you also don't want to hurt your daughter's feelings or
Right.
make them think any self-conscious whatever, right?
Right. Right.
So I don't, maybe she saw it too, but didn't want to hurt the daughter's feelings either.
Right. Right.
So
I
yeah,
know. Yeah.
it's
Oh
hard. It's
goodness. It
hard.
is.
Yeah.
It is hard.
Yeah.
Well, Leslie,
Oh,
thank you so much for being on the podcast. This was such a great conversation.
well, I had so much fun, and it really. I assume the reason you named the podcast the name is because you love Friends,
Yeah,
right?
yes, yes.
Okay, so it made me think because I watch Friends every day, all day. It was on just a minute ago.
Oh, nice.
It made me think of when you said the rapid fire. It makes me think of Phoebe saying, "I know how we can solve this. Do you want to?" When she plays the game with
Yes.
Joey or whatever, and then
Yes,
Joey plays
yes.
it with Chandler, and then dumps him out of the cab.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. All right, Cheddar Squad. I don't know what your biggest takeaway was from this episode, but mine was Leslie reminding that posting photos isn't marketing. Marketing is about communicating with your ideal client, showing them the experience you provide, and helping them see themselves in the process, not just the final images. If you'd like to learn more about Leslie and everything she offers through Seniorologie, be sure to check out the links in the show notes, including her upcoming retreat and some great resources that are free for senior photographers. And if you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you would subscribe to The One Behind the Lens And if you would like to leave a review or even share this episode with a photographer friend who might need to hear this conversation. Thanks so much for spending part of your day with me. Until next time, keep creating, keep experimenting, and keep showing the world what's happening behind the lens. We'll see you next time.